Hey there, welcome to Main Street Living. I am Cheryl Nelson.
Hey folks, I'm Quincy Carr.
And I'm Danielle Alvari.
And Danielle, you've got a new background. What's going on?
Yeah, new one every week it feels like, or every year at least.
Right.
I am in the process, and you can't tell by my background right now, but there is just mess around me of moving back to Los Angeles.
What? You were only in Las Vegas for about a year, right?
Yeah, I was there for a year. Melted, saw the desert, back.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the gamble paid off.
Yeah.
And it looks really nice too. Yeah, you would never know that you have a mess surrounding you. And I always hate unpacking. That's something that really stresses me out. But at least we have a holiday weekend coming up, right? Are you going to be unpacking or do you have other plans, Danielle?
I will probably still be unpacking, but hopefully I can keep all my windows closed this time. I know I was talking to Cheryl before the show about I'm just getting eaten alive by bugs right now. I don't know if this is like happening to other people, but I will just be itching to get all this unpacked.
No pun intended. Yeah, and I think it's because you're so sweet. That's why the mosquitoes come after me, right? Right, Q? Because we're so sweet.
Look at that. Look what she did.
I know. I did.
Do you guys have any big Labor Day weekend plans?
Me, I know I'm going to be cutting hair. As most of you may know, I'm a licensed barber here in Virginia.
Man of the people.
So I have a shop, and I'll be cutting some hair. Always get those kids ready because they go here in Virginia. They go to school right the day after Labor Day. So I do a little extra
back to
work
school.
to make sure they look good.
Yes. Oh, that's right. You always got to make sure you look good for the friends and impressing everybody on that first day of school. And for me, as I think I've mentioned in the past, but it's finally here. I get to recover from eye surgery over Labor Day weekend, so that'll be fun, right?
Something to look forward to, literally.
Yes. We'll talk more about that at the end of the show as to what you guys can expect. But as for today, guys, we've got another great show coming up for you. Lots of things going on. We'll talk about getting access to high-speed internet in rural communities.
That's right. Also, while Cal Hope has comforting resources for us, we also visit with a former refugee who's found success in helping others.
But first, we're also going to get, or not first, but we're going to hear later on from our friends at the Subaru of El Cajon, their Share the Love musical. We'll update that. But first, we will get to meet with a media mogul next, right here on Main Street Living.
Hey guys, welcome back to Main Street Living. Now, ladies, we all know this. Media has grown to be such a huge part of our daily lives. I mean, it entertains us, lets us stay in touch with family and friends, and of course, allows us to explore places and ideas outside of our own little circles, right?
That's right. And you might say our next guest is a master of media. He's a member of the Broadcasters Hall of Fame, Music and Entertainers Hall of Fame, and the owner of Star Worldwide Networks. And if that wasn't enough, he's also an award-winning author. Please welcome to Main Street Living, Dave Pratt. Dave, thanks so much for making time for us today.
Well,
Hello.
Quincy, Cheryl, Danielle, it takes 3 hosts to handle me these days, so I love it. So
it does.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
You're obviously a very busy man. You're also a man of many talents, but you spent more than 30 years as a radio personality. What did you enjoy most about that part of your career?
Oh, just having fun. You know, I like to entertain, and radio seemed to be an easy way to do that. I could be creative every day, and I was lucky because the stations that I was on gave me complete autonomy just to cause some trouble and have some fun. But probably the thing that I value most are all the relationships, all the friendships that I made over those 30 years. And I mean, hundreds of thousands of friends, and a lot of them still follow me and still keep in touch. And I'm just blessed to have those type of relationships. So that's probably the best part.
Hundreds of thousands of friends. I don't even know how you have all them on Facebook. I think there's a limit there. So you've got too many friends even for Facebook.
You know what I kind of learned on that, Cheryl, because on Facebook, if you have a personal page, it'll go to 5,000. But what they call a fan page, and I hate that term fan, but that's what they call it, it's unlimited. So my fan page now has whatever, 100,000, 150,000 or something like that.
Nice. Well, there you go. I mean, you have been a busy guy. You were also part of a band. What was that like?
I don't know if I should thank you for bringing that up or not. Somehow over the years, I became friends with James Brown. Yes, the original Sex Machine, James Brown. And he would do interviews for his movies like Rocky and Blues Brothers and Dr. Detroit. Well, anyway, one day we were on the air and I said, hey, anybody can do a band. You get up there, you jump around, you do some moves, and you're James Brown. I could do that. And he goes, well, why don't you? And I said, okay, challenge accepted. I'm going to start a band. What should I call it? And he had an album out called Sex Machine. He said, your band's name is officially Dave Pratt and the Sex Machine Band. So you guys, I started it on a joke. I don't play any instrument. I don't sing. I before that time, I wasn't a songwriter, and it just blew up and it exploded. And before long, we were playing arenas and stadiums. We were headlining concerts. We had 4 albums and home videos, and it was a lot of fun, but it was just an entertainment type band.
Wow. Well, I have to imagine, are you still playing with them, or what's the situation?
No, the statute of limitations, it's still going, so I'm waiting for that to run out. But no, I'm not doing the band anymore, and that's out of courtesy to all of my followers. I can't torture them like that.
I'm sure a lot has changed over the years. I know about 10 years ago, you started to see media change, and the radio business wasn't necessarily keeping up. Tell us, what was it like and how you came up with the idea for Star Worldwide Networks?
Well, you know what, Danielle, I never wanted to be one of those old radio guys just trying to stick around and stay relevant. Like you asked about the band, I never wanted to be Bald Van Halen or Fat Motley Crue. I didn't want to do that. I want people to remember the best times in their life and the generations they were in. So with my own career, I saw some of that kind of passing. And at the same time, as radio was declining, this little thing called the internet was really climbing. So I just took advantage of it, and I recognized it a little bit earlier than most when it comes to podcasts. And we started Star Worldwide Networks about 11 years ago. And we started with one show, and before the end of the first year, we had over 200 shows all around the nation.
Whoa.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, you are busy there. And what other content can we find on your podcast and Star Worldwide Networks?
Oh, Cheryl, we have everything. We have legal, medical, entertainment, music, comedy, cooking, coaching, women's empowerment, men's shows, sports, a lot of sports, athletics, you name it. It's pretty much like any network. When you go to a major network, they're going to have all types of content, all types of programming, so they can try to please all of their viewers at some point in time. We're the same way.
Nice.
So why is it, do you think, podcasts and kind of on-demand content have become so popular?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you already said on demand. That is the king today, and that's why Netflix is so big. You guys probably can binge watch your favorite shows in one weekend. I know I've done that. But it's this thing right here. It's in the palm of your hand. And that's where media is today. That's where people want to go. People are very ADD today. They don't have a lot of time. They want what they want when they want it. If they want news, they aren't going to wait for 5, 6, and 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. They're just going to go to their cell phone and they're going to get news from whatever source that they choose to get it from. The same with podcasts. They don't want to be told what time a radio show is going to be on. They just want to listen to their favorite content anytime they want, whether that's driving down the road or sitting at home or sitting out back on the patio. Doesn't matter if it's 2 in the morning or 2 in the afternoon. They're in control. Today, the consumer's in control. It used to be that as a personality, we were in control and we would tell viewers and listeners when we want them to watch us. That's changed. Now they're in control, all because of this.
So do you think that's a good or a bad thing? And where do you think media is going in the future?
A little bit of both, Cheryl. I mean, it's good because people can consume media in different ways. It's bad because a lot of people are irresponsible with media, and it leaves it up to the consumer to try to decipher which is good, which is bad, which is factual, which is false, which is fake news, which is real news. A consumer has to decide, what sources do I trust? So we're leaving that to the trust of the consumer. So it's good and bad. I totally believe in freedom of every kind, especially media, but I also believe that the consumer has some responsibility as well.
Absolutely. Well, I want to ask you, of course, about your autobiography, Behind the Mic, 30 Years in Radio. You turned it into an audiobook and it's free. Why did you write down your stories and why is it available for free?
You're very sweet to ask about that. So I'm a cancer survivor, and we came out with the hardbound copy. It sold out pretty quick in Barnes & Noble and Amazon and Borders, and all those proceeds went to the American Cancer Society. Well, 10 years later, I had started Star Worldwide Network. So there's another couple chapters of the evolving story that needed to be told. So we did it in Star Worldwide Networks fashion because we do audiobooks. So we produced it into a living story that has music and sound effects. So you can hear everything. When I'm talking to James Brown, you can hear the James Brown in the back. Or when I talk about my band stories, you can hear the music. When I'm interviewing Charlie Watts, who recently passed away from the Rolling Stones, you can hear the Rolling Stones in the back. It just brings everything to life, and audiobooks are huge now. As far as being free, thank you for asking. I just want to do something for my listeners to say thank you. And I just think it's a nice way to do it because they've been on the journey with me. I couldn't have done it without them. So now they have a free story that they can hopefully get some laughs anytime they want with.
It's a nice way
Only
to give
a radio
back.
guy would think about that too, with all the sounds. That sounds great.
You know what else it turns into? It turns into a really nice scrapbook of dad for my kids. So someday, no matter what happens, they have their dad's story in his voice. And so with my grandkids,
I love
and
that.
I started doing it for them when I had cancer, not to get too deep here, but I wanted them to know the true story because sometimes media that has covered me has gotten it wrong. And I wanted them to know the truth. Well, that's what actually started the book.
I
so
love
now
that.
they have it in Dad's own voice.
Wow.
That is the cutest. And we are wrapping up here. So where can our viewers go to learn more about you, your book, your podcast, and everything else?
Probably the best way is just go to starworldwidenetworks.com. You'll see the audiobook there. All of our shows are free to listen to. Everything we do is mobile friendly. You don't even need an app. Just go to starworldwidenetworks.com. And thank you for giving me the chance to plug that. I really appreciate it.
Oh, Dave, thank you so much. You are a true gem. We appreciate it.
I enjoyed it. Thank you.
All right. We've got so much more coming up on Main Street Living. Next, we will talk about investing with a purpose. You don't want to miss it. Welcome back to Main Street Living. Quincy, Danielle, sometimes hearing the news every day can be really hard because there are so many people and causes that need help, and it doesn't feel like that there's anything we individually can do to help fix the problem.
That's right. And the refugee crisis is one of those issues. There are now approximately 80 million displaced people around the world right now, and more than 30 million of those are children. Our next guest was one of those children when he fled as one of the Lost Boys of Sudan. Welcome in, Ger Duany. Ger, thanks so much for making the time for us today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So, Ger, you're a refugee who fled Sudan during its civil war. What would you like people to know about your experience and what other refugees are going through today?
Well, first, I'd like to thank you for you guys giving me time to hear my story, because I know everybody has a story, but some of the story, they don't come out. And then for me to have an opportunity to speak to people like you guys, then it's important for me to share my life journey. Being a former refugee is something that always remained with me. And then I never stopped talking about my own story to tell people what's going on, because these type of conflicts, they still displacing people. And even now, as I'm speaking to you guys, I'm speaking in South Sudan, in Juba. And it's the one country that been leading the world with the refugees behind Syria. And now we have Afghans. So I was a refugee in the 80s, during our previous civil war. And that civil war, it led me to be in Ethiopia, living in refugee camps there. And then later on, I find another way to live in Kenya. and then from Kenya, then I find opportunity to come to the United States. So my journey been very long, but it's always attached to looking for educational opportunity.
Yeah.
And that's the reason, you know, I was separated from my family for over 20 years. I live in every state in America. And then I went to high school there. I went to university there. I played basketball. I find a ground to tell my own story. And looking back into those days to what's going on now, and then I never hesitate to speak about what's going on. And that's the reason I was a Goodwill Ambassador.
Yeah. Well, Ger, after you moved to the United States, okay, you became a successful actor and model. Now that's pretty cool. Okay. So what was it like going from refugee to a thriving career, man? That's awesome.
Well, you know, we all refugees, we always looking for opportunity. We always looking for opportunity. And me going to the United States, we went there as a big number. And because the vastness of United States, most of us never really find each other. So you gotta find a way for you to learn. So having that opportunity for me to be in Bloomington, Indiana, to be in Connecticut, and my whole journey is just about learning.
Yeah.
So, and I'm grateful for all the opportunity that were given to me. If success means that we have to solve problems, and then I have a big problem to solve, but it's something that I can't do alone. That's the reason that I'm here with my colleagues, such as Doug.
Yeah, well, congratulations on that, man. That's awesome.
Ger, and one of the opportunities given to you, I know you mentioned your ambassador role. In 2015, you were appointed as United Nations Goodwill Ambassador. How do their programs help refugees, and what are they in most need of right now?
Well, you have to know this. So me being an actor and being a model for a very long time, and now I'm an author, and then I have a platform. So what I did with the UNHCR, we brought our platform together so that I can tell my own story and other refugees can be able to really tell their story. My entire motive is for refugees to know that how powerful they are on their own right. And then they should understand that they are very important in the world that we live in as one people. And then, because every single time people talks about you're refugees, you tend to lose your dignity.
Mm-hmm.
Lose your dignity, and then you lose your home, you lose your parents, and then you don't know what direction that you are going. I'm grateful enough, you know, for my path to go to the United States and actually to meet people who really guided me and even made myself at home. So I wish this kind of opportunity can be expanded in a bigger way, because look at the number of the refugees now. It become humanity problems, not only the refugees themselves.
Right. Well, I mean, overall, how can our viewers at home who are watching right now, like, how can they help this crisis?
Well, there's so many ways to help. And one of the ways that I'm always talking about, Doug and I, is that having conversation like this really help, you know, because if people don't talk about what it is going on, and then we cannot know how to solve it.
Okay. Absolutely. Well, you mentioned Doug. So, of course, we want to bring in the CEO of New Day Impact Investing to tell us more about that. Welcome in Doug Heske. Doug, thanks so much for joining us. Now, New Day has partnered with Ger to help combat the crisis through sustainable investing. Can you tell us about the partnership and how sustainable investing can help?
Yes, absolutely. And I think that Ger had referenced a number of extraordinarily important points. And we have, as an organization, spent a lot of time understanding the intersection between refugees, inequality, climate change, and a wide array of additional existential threats that are threatening humanity today. They are so significant to us as a population, they may very well impact our ability to live healthy lives, or in fact, to even survive. And there's no better connection between humanity and climate change than the refugee crisis. Not only is it a problem for today, but a bigger one for tomorrow. The numbers, as Ger had referenced, are absolutely staggering right now. So, and then we think about this issue around climate change and rising sea levels, and it becomes even more important. So for every 1 meter rise in sea level, it's estimated that 100 million people will be displaced. So we're trying to solve this issue with many, many cohorts that we collaborate with. And what we try to do as an organization is get people informed, involved, and invested. And so first and foremost, our population needs to be more empathetic. These are not people that are leaving their homeland because they want to. They are being forcibly displaced. We need individuals and institutions to become better global citizens. We need to hire refugees. So the work that we're doing with Ger, the organizations that he supports, like the UNHCR, are essentially intended to drive action among corporate organizations that can bring about stronger integration opportunities for this massive population of people that are in the process of being displaced or have been displaced.
Wow. Well, Doug, I mean, that's a mouthful. And you talk about the connection that everyone needs to have. So let's get our viewers connected. I mean, how can they get involved in sustainable investing?
Well, I think the first thing to do is to think about this in a different way, that it's not just about investing, but it's really about aligning your values with the issues that you care about.
Okay.
And as I said earlier, there couldn't be a stronger connection among climate change and like living or running a healthier planet. Mm-hmm. So we do, I think, what is really important work on the impact side. In fact, today we just launched a program to support a nonprofit organization called Ascend, which works with young women in Afghanistan through climbing leadership programs and community activism initiatives. So we are in the process of building what is a very specific refugees portfolio that people can invest in. And we are also what is our diversity, equity, and inclusion portfolio, integrating really important characteristics for corporate organizations that are trying to drive this change. Organizations like Ben & Jerry's and UPS, which are all constituents of our portfolio.
Okay.
That's amazing. Yes. Amazing work you guys are doing at New Day Impact. Thank you so much for sharing your story, and Ger joining us all the way from the Sudan as well, and Doug as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Well, Danielle, what an impactful segment. And after the break, we continue that impact because we're going to talk about sharing the love. So stick around. We'll be right back after the break.
Welcome back to Main Street Living. Quincy, Danielle, I'm sure you both remember a few weeks back, we had a couple of guests on to tell us about a pretty unique project that a Southern California Subaru dealership put together during the pandemic.
That's right, Cheryl. Subaru of El Cajon produced a short musical film to give out-of-work actors and crew a paying project while theaters were shut down.
Well, guess what? The film is out and the reviews are in, so we checked back to see how things went, and the results are impressive. You guys, take a look at this.
Time is it? A time for new adventures. Let's drive away to San Diego.
What has happened since the musical's been released? It's won 14 different laurels at film festivals, including Best Musical from the Oneros Film Festival in New York. I happen to have won Best Producer. We won Best Ensemble Acting. So the musical itself has really gone out of its way to make itself a hit.
Hope I don't get mangled by a shark. Ready?
No, we did not have a cast review party. However, everyone got the link and everyone pretty much watched at the same time. So some of us were on Zoom calls, some of us were on telephone calls. So everyone got to talk to each other. The comments from the cast were almost unified in their voice. And it was no one was sure what this was going to be when it grew up, if you will.
I've never heard of a car dealership or a car company having a full musical production.
Okay, we're all going to get together for a few days. Well, that few days turned into about 3,000 hours worth of human hours worth of work to get it from idea to being finished.
These have been really difficult times as a musical theater performer because of the pandemic. So I'm very thankful for this opportunity where we get to do what I love to do, and that's musical theater.
Take 3. Let's go enjoy.
Some people have been hired for other jobs because people saw them in this. So, overwhelmingly, it did everything we could have hoped for it to do. The criticism of the film from critics both countrywide, nationwide, statewide has been pretty positive. Filmthreat.com. They actually told the absolute truth You know what? There were a few camera angles that could have been better. Yeah, granted. Yeah, there could have been this a little bit better. Granted. All I can tell you is that we put 30 people to work in 100 days, made a musical during a pandemic. I'll take the criticism. The folks at Subaru really raised their collective eyebrow. In fact, we thought this was such a cool idea. We sent it to Tom Dahl, the president and CEO of Subaru, and he sent us back a handwritten note thinking it was just the slickest thing since sliced bread. What was really funny, the day that we were filming it, the dealership was open. So there are people buying cars, watching 30 people dance and sing, and it's like, I realize this doesn't happen at every Subaru dealership, but that day it happened there.
Share the love with you.
The next project that's really coming up is something that's never been done. It's another world's first, much like the Sharing the Love musical. It's going to be a Nutcracker showcase. We're going to feature between 15 and 20 dance schools from the San Diego metropolitan area, not just ballet, modern, hip hop, jazz, and we're going to blend it all together into the Nutcracker Ballet, live orchestra, well-trained dancers. So it's going to be really, really fun. So that's going to be the next one up, and that's going to be late November, early December.
Wow, ladies. Well, yeah, I can say I'm glad the project went well, and it's good to see people out there supporting these artists.
Absolutely.
Yes, always love to see that. And make sure you keep an eye out for Totally Nutcrackers this fall. You can watch the Sharing the Love musical on the YourView YouTube channel too. And if you'd like to see how your local Subaru dealer is sharing the love, go to Subaru.com.
And coming up next, right here on Main Street Living, we're going to get kids connected. Welcome back into Main Street Living. As promised, we are going to get kids connected. Like it or not, we're in full back to school season. And while that may look a little different depending on where you are in the country, one thing all students are going to need is access to the internet.
That is for sure, which is why Cox is working with families around the country to provide affordable high-speed internet.
So cool. And here to tell us about how Pima County, Arizona is faring from the Sunnyside Foundation. Welcome, Carrie Lopez Howell, to the show. How you doing there, Carrie?
Hi, guys. I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Hey there.
Great to have you on the show. So, Carrie, tell us a little bit about the work that you do in the Sunnyside School District Foundation.
Great. So I'm Carrie Lopez Howell. I'm the executive director of Sunnyside Foundation. We are a foundation that was founded by alumni from Sunnyside Unified School District, and that's been our focus area, helping our students with education resources, getting our teachers classroom resources. We do student scholarships, and with COVID, we shifted into a broader South Side focus, and we started working on basic needs that really needed to be met and meeting the challenge at the time. So.
And we know your foundation has worked closely with Cox to bridge the digital divide. So how has that helped, and how has Cox made a difference?
Yes, so we all know there was a major digital divide nationwide, and it hit our district very hard. We had 21 schools, 16,000 students, and while the students did have laptops, there was an internet connection issue, and we were able to work really closely with Cox in a few different ways. The first one was getting free, affordable internet to a variety of students. We ran an emergency relief fund that Cox was helping us connect internet that way. We ran their Connect to Compete program, helping students connect that way. And then we went like full blown into digital equity work to support our teachers who were having to do the remote learning and keep students connected. So for me, it felt like a holistic approach that Cox took. And it really was the example of such a strong partnership and them working with us to meet that need and close that gap.
Yeah. And when you talk about the partnerships, can you give us a specific example of how a public-private partnership with Cox has actually improved the students and families' lives?
Yes. So in addition to the outcomes of the partnership, where we were able to get students connected to internet, Cox supported teacher scholarships. So teachers were able to get the high-speed quality internet to teach in a really affordable and equitable way for the students. And then there was this outcome that's really incredible is we're getting internet towers up in a community that hasn't seen internet towers in years, which is such a sad thing, right? In 2021 to have it was 450 households. It was an entire elementary school without internet access. And Cox has come in to start that process for our students. And I highlight that, but I think the most important thing is the partnership piece, right? Being able to call Cox and talk with them and say, these are the needs. It's not just, for us, it wasn't laptops. That wasn't our need. It was the connection to the internet service. And then there was a major issue with teachers getting quality internet for these students who are in these rural communities. And that really shows the partnership piece where you can call your partner and say, this is the struggle that's unique to us. Can you guys help us through this? And they showed up. They showed up for Sunnyside Foundation and Sunnyside students.
Beautiful.
And internet is not a luxury anymore. I think it's something that you need for learning in schools. I mean, what would the setbacks be without this?
Internet is a necessity, right? It's a necessity for education. It's a necessity for a culture of learning, building curiosity with our students, allowing them to be independent learners. And we still know the setbacks. The setbacks are students weren't learning. They weren't able to be connected. I think it causes us like more of a mental health issue, because if students aren't even connected to their friends at the time and then they couldn't get to their classroom, we were so reliant on Zooms, right? We still are doing our like Zoom happy hours and meets. And imagine these students not being able to get into their classroom in a Zoom, in addition to, not being face-to-face with their community. It's such a huge aspect of student wellness.
Wow. Well, I mean, we certainly appreciate the information and appreciate what you're doing. Where can our viewers find more information about affordable access to high-speed internet?
Yes, our viewers can look up the Cox Connect to Compete, do a Google search, and it'll come up and they'll be able to access that.
Awesome.
All right. Very good stuff. Thank you so much for everything you are doing. We appreciate you joining us today on Main Street Living.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Well, I like that, Quincy. We're talking about spreading some hope to the kids. And coming up, we're going to talk about another way to spread hope. You don't want to miss it.
Hey guys, welcome back to Main Street Living. Now, ladies, I have to ask, you ever have that one friend or family member that you can talk to for anything? Like Randy Newman said, you got a friend in me.
Oh, sing it, Quincy. Yes, I love that song. And yes, it's so nice to have people like that. And there are times in our lives when we all need a little extra support, especially while dealing with a global pandemic. So whether you are in need of resources or just someone to talk with, Cal Hope is there for you. Take a look.
Cal Hope is a state-funded program through FEMA that provides emotional support to all Californians due to the emotional distress that our communities have seen as a result of COVID. Some of the adversities that our communities have faced include job loss, as well as dealing with anxiety, depression, the fear of contracting COVID, and also just the loss of how our lives used to be. And so through this program, Cal Hope aims to be a support for our communities. When individuals reach out to us looking for help, our crisis counselors take initiative to see what their needs are. We try to connect them to the appropriate resources that exist throughout the counties here in California so that they're able to live their lives as normal as possible and so that they can persevere.
Hey guys, I was wondering if I could give you a flyer. We're a program called Cal Hope.
One of the most important elements for us here at Cal Hope is that we're meeting our communities where they're at. We go out to the community. We go to barbershops, coffee shops, we go to restaurants, and we're able to provide them with information.
But you can scan the QR code.
One of the things that we have done quite a lot and that it has definitely helped our communities is providing our community members with resource sheets. We have a lot of QR codes that people are able to scan, and that links them to even more resources. Cal Hope is also able to provide individuals and community members with an online option to talk to crisis counselors. That is where Cal Hope Connect comes in. you're able to go onto callhopeconnect.org and you can talk to a crisis counselor. In doing so, you can talk to them pretty much about anything that you might be feeling as a result of this pandemic. And if you're looking for resources as well, our crisis counselors are able to link you to the appropriate resources based on where you are in California.
Hi, this is Brenda with Call Hope. How can I assist you today?
We also have the Warm Line. So Call Hope's Warm Line is a way for community members to connect if they want to talk to someone over the phone.
We are available 24/7.
When they call our number, they're able to connect to a crisis counselor that has had that experience of dealing with such heightened emotions such as anxiety, depression. And our crisis counselors are able to talk them through the things that they need to talk through. We do this in a non-clinical capacity. We do this in a more of a peer-to-peer basis. And in doing so, people are reassured that they have someone that is willing to listen to them. Many times that's all we need. For more information, people can go on callhope.org, and there you will find a wide variety of resources to address all the needs that you may have. There's no shame in asking for help, especially under these unprecedented times in which our world has changed quite a lot. So try not to hesitate and, ask for help, ask for what you need, because we're here for you.
See, ladies, you see what I'm talking about? Good people like that exist in the world, and we can use all of their help,
Yes, I love seeing things like that. And if you want to learn more, you can find out more about California Hope and get in touch at calhope.org or by calling 833-317-HOPE.
And after you make that call, don't go anywhere, because coming up next, we're talking about dining out the healthy way. Yes, there is a way.
Welcome back to Main Street Living. Danielle, Quincy. After a year and a half of cooking at home or ordering takeout, some of us are finally starting to head back to sit-down restaurants to have a meal with friends.
And while that might feel like a splurge after a year of sparse dining choices, it doesn't have to derail your healthy eating plan. Registered dietitian Jim White has some tips for staying on track when you eat out. Take a look.
Hi, I'm Jim White, registered dietitian, certified personal trainer. Dining out can be a great time to have fun with your family and really enjoy yourself. But you can also sabotage your diet by not eating healthy. Follow my 5 tips so you can enjoy yourself and eat healthy next time you dine out. The best thing you could do before you go to the restaurant is read your menu online. Pick the best healthy choices before you go and allow for substitutions. This way, when you go to the restaurant, you know exactly what you're going to eat and feel confident in that choice. Another great tip is to eat before you go out. Having a high protein snack such as almond butter and a piece of fruit or Greek yogurt, or even having a glass of water, this will fill you up so you don't order everything on the menu when you go out. In order to lower your calories for your meal, don't forget to order your dressings and sauces on the side. This way you can control the amount of calories you put in your meal. At most restaurants, portion sizes are huge. The best thing you can do is cut your portion size in half and eat the rest of it the next day. Now, I know it's hard to do, but next time dessert comes out, use the 3-bite rule. Take 3 small bites and then push the dessert away. By following these nutrition tips, you can be assured that you can still eat healthy while spending time with your family and friends at the next restaurant you go to. For Jim White approved restaurants, visit jimwhitefit.com.
It's pretty cool to see Jim sitting at a table, right? Because you expect a workout guru to be in a gym somewhere, but I think the tips are pretty healthy as far as snacking a little bit before you go out so you don't overindulge, right?
Yeah, I'm sure he's doing some kind of calf raise under the table or something. You know how it is. Get it in where you can fit it in.
I know. Some good tips there. If you're looking for more tips for staying healthy and fit, just visit jimwhitefit.com.
That's right. And straight ahead, we got more of Main Street Living.
Welcome back into Main Street Living. Thanks so much for watching the show today, guys. And speaking of watching, Cheryl, I know you have some news about your eyes coming up next week. I know our viewers want to hear about this.
I know. I think it just proves that I'm human, right? I have to have eye surgery. And so the next time you see me, it's not going to be dressed like a pirate day, but I might look like a pirate with a little bit of an
It might be, though. We might do dress like a pirate day.
It might be, because I'm going to look a little scary as it heals. So I don't want to freak anybody out. But just an FYI for Main Street, you got to make sure you tune in so you can catch that next time.
Absolutely. And speaking of tuning in, don't forget you can always catch any of our other shows and other shows as well on our Contour app as well.
Absolutely. And we always have brand new episodes of Main Street Living on Mondays, 9 p.m. local time. So make sure you join us then as we take another stroll down Main Street.